Once I hit you with that back space, you ain't coming back. No control, oh the leech, give me space. Like that. Hit you with that back space, you ain't coming back.
What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to Entertainment Curated, the channel where you let us know whether we should continue to play this or never play it again, based upon your interactions below. I'm actually welcoming this visual novel, to be honest. For you guys, it's just a new day. I just finished recording Gut Whale, which will probably be yesterday's video for you. I think I was losing it. So I'm going to actually chill out and enjoy this game. It looks cutesy. If you're one of the amazing people to jump into our comments in the last video where I was losing my mind, whether it was to answer the PYP or just say hello, here's the comment that we picked on screen. PYP for this video is: would you rather be unable to use the following words, the, and, to, be, of, or constantly feel like you're covered in ants? I'm going with the first one. I'll just use for everything, or just I'll figure something out. If it was like covered in ants for, I don't know, 10 minutes, even up to an hour, and then comparing that to losing those words for the rest of your life, sure. But constantly, and there doesn't seem to be a stopping point, no. I would lose my mind. I would go insane. More than Gut Whale last video. But let me know what you would choose down in the comments below. Whether it be unable to use the words the, and, to, be, and of, or constantly feel like you're covered in ants. I'd love to know your response. Today we're checking out, to actually look at, A Little Lily Princess. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing that we didn't even put the title on the on the screen. Where's the title? We just have start game, load game, preferences. Do you feel like if we stylistically did A Little Lily Princess in the top right corner, it would look weird? Or do we just forget? Anyways. Thanks to Rattle Games for giving us the opportunity to check out this game. We do appreciate you. Let's jump in. So we got like... I'm not gonna lie, it actually looks like Attack on Titan's decor. Or architecture, sorry. It was spring when Sarah's school life began, but spring in London was nothing like any spring she had known before. The morning sun was not enough to lift the chill from the stony streets, and the mist of the river blended with the smoke of countless chimneys to form a thick yellow fog. If visual novels are not your thing, maybe my voice will soothe you as you go to sleep. Little visual novel ASMR. In such weather, the gas lamps burned night and day, flickering like stars to guide the horse-drawn ships to their destinations. Did you say horse-drawn ships? But the ship that had carried her across the ocean was now a thing of the past. Here, then, was Sarah's new home. It was a big, dull brick house, exactly like all the others in its row, except that on the front door there shone a brass plate which was engraved in black letters. Miss Minchin's Select Seminary for Young Ladies. Girls, gather round if you please. Come, hurry up. We have a new pupil who will be joining us starting today. Her name is Sarah Crew, and she's only recently arrived in England, so you must all make her feel welcome. How do you do? The room filled with a chorus of gently murmured greetings. Sarah Crew, for that was her name, looked out upon a garden of strangers. Every face was turned to her, polite and attentive and perfectly foreign. Perfectly foreign? Anyways, she felt more lost than she had ever been at sea. Sarah, dear, As you can see, we have pupils here of all levels, but these three are particularly near your age. This is Miss Lavinia Herbert. Charmed. Miss Ermengarde St. John. That's your greeting, And Miss Jessie Abbott. Very pleased to meet you. I'm very pleased to meet you as well. I have never known very many girls near my age. Well, you said 3. I don't know who you are. Oh, is that me? Shit. Sorry. Nor any other age. Sarah's life before the point had not been isolated, but sheltered. Her mother had died when she was born, leaving Sarah to be raised by the young, handsome father, who was the only relation she had ever known. Not sure why she would say that. Some fathers had little time for their children, but Sarah and her papa had always been quite close, reading books and playing games together every day. He treated her as a little confidant, sharing his thoughts with her as if she were his peer and not a very young girl or daughter. It's kind of getting a little bit creepy, and listened solemnly to the advice she gave in return, though he didn't always follow it. Sarah had never felt lonely, but it must be said that she had very little experience in making new friends. Sarah's father, Captain Crew, makes his home in India, and he is returning there as we speak. I shall expect you all to be very agreeable to her. Now, Sarah, take your seat. Your father has informed me how very much you enjoy your studies, and I expect you to be a credit to this establishment. I am not certain how to become a credit, but I do wish to learn. This statement was met with muffled giggles. Confused, Sarah looked back at Miss Minchin for guidance. Take your seat, I said. But which seat is mine? Concerned that she would look disobedient if she hesitated further, she slid into the nearest empty place. No one objected, and she let out a sigh of relief. Nearby, 2 girls turned to whisper to each other. What a way she has of speaking, so old-fashioned. Hush. And her eyes are such a queer color, a funny-looking child to be sure. Well, she isn't pretty as the other pretty people are, but there is something about her. She makes you want to look at her again to see what it is. And she has tremendously long lashes. Only you would notice such a thing. Girls, kindly pay attention to your lessons. Yes, Miss Minchin. Choose an activity for Sarah to perform each day. Every activity has 3 possible outcomes, which will change the icons you receive. At the end of the week, Sarah's icons will be collected and turned into resources. Becomes knowledge, becomes artistry, becomes patience, becomes sympathy, becomes grace, becomes belief, becomes vigor. Icons are only converted at the end of the week. Until then, they can be changed or lost by other activities. Plan the order of your activities in order to get the best results for the week. Okay. Select one activity for each day. Each activity has 3 possible outcomes. What do we want to do? Mondays? I kind of want Mondays to be... like a chill day. We always kind of like push for Mondays to be like, oh, like it's going to be a terrible day. But let's start off with like a walk. Tuesdays, I do feel like we should kind of reflect and see where we're at. What happened on that walk? What happened on the weekend? Wednesdays, let's get into reading our books. I don't know if that means study as well. We'll practice our dance on Thursday. And we'll play with toys on Friday. Ooh, or should we socialize? Let's socialize on Friday. Now the schedule that you have set will be carried out. For each weekday, Sarah will point to the randomly chosen result, and those icons will appear on the right side of the screen. You do not have to press to advance between days. It will happen automatically. You can adjust the speed of activities from the Preferences menu. Remember, icons are only converted to resources at the end of the week. A result of doubling all will double your current icons, but not your long-term knowledge resources. No idea what that means. Walking. Writing. reading, dancing, visiting. Final week's result, all of this stuff. You got what? 1 knowledge, 4 artistry, 1 vigor, 3 patience, 3 grace, and 1 sympathy. My room. My 2 rooms just for me. Sarah was what was known as a parlor boarder. Where other girls were quartered in standard issue single rooms, she had a large bedroom uniquely decorated and a separate sitting room with a comfortable sofa. My papa has filled them with beautiful things: books, velvet cushions, lace dresses, a porcelain tea set, hats with great feathers that bob on them, even a tiger rug to remind me of India. It looks like a room that would belong to the daughter of a Raja, an Indian princess. I only wish that this room also contained my papa. Perhaps it does. He gave me all of these things, and whenever I touch them, I can imagine that he is with me. And when I read his farewell letter, I can hear his voice. My dear little missus, so here you are in the place you always knew you must go. But be of good cheer. You will not have to stay for a very long time. There will be a lot of little girls, and you will play together, and I will send you plenty of books, and you will grow so fast that it will seem scarcely a year before you are big enough and clever enough to come back and take care of your papa. That's wild. I am not in the least anxious about your education. You are always sitting with your little nose burrowing into books, gobbling them up as if you were a little wolf instead of a little girl. I have instructed Miss Minchin to drag you away from your books when you read too much, and make you go and ride your pony in the Row, or buy a new doll. You ought to play more with dolls. Oh, Papa, if I bought a new doll every day, I should have too many to be able to make friends with them all. I am happiest with just Emily, and happier because I was with you when I met her. Emily, of course, was the name of a doll, a very special doll that Sarah had discovered when her papa took her to visit the premier toy shops of London. She was a large doll, but not too large to carry about easily. She had naturally curly golden brown hair, which hung like a mantle about her, and her eyes were a deep, clear gray blue, with soft, thick eyelashes, which were real lashes, and not merely painted lines. At Sarah's insistence, she had been given a wardrobe every bit as grand as Sarah's own, with frocks and coats and nightgowns and beautiful lace-trimmed underthings. She even had her own tiny lady's handkerchief and her own cradle bed at the foot of Sarah's. Sarah lifted Emily up onto her lap and smiled at her, just as she would another little girl. My papa is on the sea now, Emily. We must be very great friends to each other, intimate friends, and tell each other things. Look at me, Emily. You have the nicest eyes I ever saw, but I wish you could speak. She brushed Emily's hair fondly, sealing her in pride a place. There are so many girls in this school. I have never seen so many children in one place before. I am afraid I shall not even remember all of their names. I have always known that someday I would be required to go away, to leave my home and my papa and come to England to be educated. I must do my duty, even if I do not like it. I dare say soldiers, even brave ones, don't really like going into battle, but they must do it anyway and not cry and fuss. So I must but oh, it is so lonely. She could not know, of course, how her quiet sorrow might be misinterpreted by others. Miss Minchin, the proprietor, had seen the lavish preparations for Sarah's pretty little room and concluded that here was a child who had always been given her own way at the expense of others. Such a spoiled little girl might be expected to kick and scream and set the whole house into an uproar when abandoned by her only parent. That she did not suggested to Miss Minchin that Sarah cared nothing at all for her papa, but only for her dresses and toys. Such was not a thought that inspired sympathy in her heart for the newcomer. Just then there came a sound at the door of Sarah's room. Sarah was not a girl easily given to fear or startlement, but she had a healthy share of curiosity and went at once to see what it was. Outside sat a little girl, right on her bottom in the middle of the hall, her baby plump legs splayed and the lace of her petticoats askew, as she had just toppled over, which in fact she had. "Hello there, who might you be?" Lottie. Her words were hard to make out through the fingers she had shoved into her mouth. Lottie? The fingers were withdrawn and wiped dry among the frills of her skirt. Lottie Lee. Sarah smiled. Here, then, was a chance to meet just one person at a time instead of a crowd of strangers. Well then, I am Sarah Crew, and now we are properly introduced. She held out a hand and helped the little girl to her feet. Was there something you wanted? May I look at your doll? Of course you may. Come and visit me in my room, and we can have tea together. My papa left me a beautiful tea set with lilies painted on it. Emily has her own service as well, sized for her hand because she is too small to hold one of my cups. I want to see. Come inside then, and I will introduce you to Emily. And that was Sarah's first week of classes at Miss Minchin's Select Seminary for Young Ladies. On the weekends, you can spend the resources you have collected in order to unlock scenes with different characters. The requirements for each event will be listed in the box next to that character. If an event requires 5 belief, you must have at least 5 belief on the left-hand side of the screen in order to select Play Event. Playing that event will lower your current belief by 5. Some scenes will not be available until later in the story. Others can only be played early in the game. Pay attention to the requirements. It is best to focus your attention on only 2 or 3 characters in order to have time to play all of their scenes. So we got Jesse's Play Event. Next event, 5 belief. Nope. 3 grace. But that's in week 2. And then... Hello, Sarah. May I come to visit? Sarah rose to her feet at once. You are very welcome. Please come inside. Jessie stepped into the room and then held out her skirt to drop a delicate curtsy in greeting. I know we have been introduced, but I wish to make your acquaintance more personally. And without Lavi listening. Lavinia? I thought that you and she were the best of friends. Of course we are. I adore her. She's so classic. So elegant and focused. I admire her very much. However, sometimes it is nicer to do things for oneself. Are those real silk stockings you're wearing? Sarah blinked, caught unaware by this change of topic. Yes, I have several pairs. My papa took me to many shops while he was in London. They're darling. Mine are only lisle cotton. May I see the pattern? Sarah sat down in her comfortable armchair, lifting the hem of her skirt slightly so that the floral embroidery over her ankle was visible. What little feet you have. I never saw such little feet. Are they small? She raised her leg a bit, pointing her toes and moving her foot this way and that. They seem the same size as they have always been, even though I know they must have been smaller when I was younger. I'm sure that Lottie's feet are smaller than mine, and Emily's, of course, are the smallest of all. Emily? Emily is the doll that my papa bought to be my companion. Sarah stood up and lifted Emily into her arms for Jessie to admire. Emily, this is Jessie Abbott, my new friend. The older girl dropped a beautiful curtsy, then laughed. Oh, she has silk stockings too. Stockings for such teeny tiny feet. How cute. But you do have small feet for your height, Sarah. I'm sure you do. Look at mine. Jessie pressed her foot up alongside Sarah's for comparison. I just don't know whether larger or smaller feet are better, for dancing I mean. If you dance with a partner, small feet would be better to avoid being stepped on, and they look very stylish in slippers. Slippers are cuter if they are smaller. But larger feet might be better for holding positions and standing on your toes. Small feet may not be as strong. Your feet have a good shape though. They arch well. They're very pretty. Can feet be pretty? Colonel Grange's little daughter Isabel in India was the prettiest girl I have ever knew. All the gentlemen said she was the beauty of regiment. She has dimples and round, rose-colored cheeks, pale blue eyes, and long curling hair the color of gold, and everyone said those things were very pretty. No one ever spoke of her feet. I suppose if feet can be pretty, then perhaps I do have pretty feet. I know the rest of me is not. My hair is too black and straight and short. I am too thin, and my eyes are a strange color. You do not have the same kind of beauty that dolls are made of, but that doesn't mean that you aren't pretty. I think you are quite interesting to look at. Sarah did not wish to contradict her new friend, who had no reason to lie, but her inner conviction that she was an ugly little girl could not be so easily dispelled. Will you show me the rest of your dolls and clothes? Do all of your petticoats have so many lace frills? Do you think any of them would fit me? I don't know. I suppose we can find out. New week. And we're going to stop there. Interesting. I mean, the story itself, I'm not going to lie, I kind of don't care. It seems like all these new girls are just going to take advantage of Sarah because she's rich, which is rather unfortunate. But the icons functions kind of gives me the same idea as Doki Doki, which could be interesting. I don't know. It's not up to me. It's up to you guys. Let me know down below with your interactions. But until next time, remember, whether you're online or offline, stay focused and get yours. See ya!